Well, there we go, folks. That means it's official that we are now embarking on another journey into the paranormal portal. And by God, I'm going to be your host. My name is Brent Thomas. If you're new to the show, and it's my duty to try to bring you knowledge, meaning, understanding, entertainment, and by God, just a friendly neighborhood. And that's what we give here on the portal. Hi, Paranormal Paul. How you doing, brother? We do our best to make sure you have a good time here as much as we can anyway. Now, if you are new to the show, this is not your normal paranormal show. It's definitely not normal. That doesn't mean that it's completely abnormal. It just means that it's kind of a free-form romp into the strange and unusual. And we do like to have a good time. We're not overly dramatic here. We don't get into, trying to sensationalize things. We do take an objective look at things as we cover them. And we try to dive into many different topics per show. So we may cover ghosts, UFOs, cryptozoology, strange phenomena, and so much more on any given show. So by God, that's the scope of the portal. And if you like what you're hearing, you might be in the right place. If you're new to the show, no drama either. Thanks, Vince. That's a great point. We don't do drama here. That's just not part of what we're after. And our chats are full of incredible people. We have some of the greatest community I've ever seen in the paranormal world. And I can't take any credit for that. All these wonderful people found me and have made this their place. And so God bless them. And like Paul says, save the drama for your mama. Absolutely. Paranormal Portal is about politics only, Justin. It's not about politics. We don't talk about politics. Sometimes I do talk about some current events, and sometimes that may be in the neighborhood of politics, but I like to keep politics out of it because, my God, you guys get inundated by politics everywhere else, and there's certainly no reason to tune in here to find that. So if you're looking for politics, you might be in the wrong place, but there's lots of other channels that do that a hell of a lot better than I ever could, and they're more interested in it than I ever could be. So I just want to say hello to a few people that have come in the door so far. Phil Funk is here. Annie Manula is here. Wizard Moon is here. I'm just scrolling as I'm talking. I kind of had the market cornered here at the first segment. Rachel came in, and then Rue came in. Good to see you. Wonderful to have you here. Isaac Areola is here. Good to see you, brother. What's up to you, man? And Just Insane popped in. John Temperance here. And I'm just scrolling. Vincent Sanchez, as I just talked to a second ago. Yes, he is here as well in the live chat on YouTube. I'm just going through the YouTube chats first. That's generally where 99% of our audience is, but we keep broadcasting on YouTube, Rumble, and Twitch all the same because, why not? It doesn't cost me anymore to put the stream in many places, so we'll just do that. Let's see what I got. John Temperin, Paranormal Paul I said hello to. Let's see, any new name? Let's see. And you guys are talking, though. That's good. I got to keep scrolling because you guys are having whole conversations. That's one thing I love about the beginning of every show. It's you guys are like, hi, so-and-so. Hi, so-and-so. Hey, good to see you, so-and-so. It's like, wow. It's like the beginning of an episode of Cheers. Hey, Norm. So, let's see. Any new names popping up? Deborah Neighbors is here. Good to see you, Deborah. That's wonderful. And just cruising down the list. Barbara Mora is not only in the YouTube chat, but she's also over in Rumble as well, keeping an eye on things. And Sinfully Wicked popped in the door. Great to see you. As I'm scrolling through, Chucky Danger's here, which is good because tonight, well, it's always good when Chucky's here, don't get me wrong, but tonight we do a feature part of the show, which is called the Discord Question of the Week, which is championed by our very own Chucky Danger. So we'll get into that after the news, of course, and looking for more new names. You guys have been talking a lot. Let's see. Jason Finch popped in. How you doing, Jason? Good to see you, brother. Thanks for coming in. And Lulu Bell is here. How you doing, Lulu? Great to see you as well. And I don't know, is that it? I'm kind of scrolling, seeing the same names here. I'm looking for anybody new that might have just popped in the door. But Annie Manul is here. Good to see you, Annie. Thank you for coming in. And I think that brings us to current. So, and again, hello to anybody that might be watching over on Twitch, and hello to all of you watching who aren't chatting. It's not a prerequisite that you chat. If you do want to shout out, you got to say something in the chats, because I don't get a list of people that just might be out there watching. But you're welcome to kick back, relax, grab a libation of your choice, cuddle up with a blanket, turn down the lights, and get ready to get spooky, because it's paranormal stuff. So we like to get spooky up in here. Get this bracelet keeps coming loose. I got to tie it off. There we go. So Lulu's in listening mode. That's fine. Yeah, I mean, that's cool. You don't have to talk. It's wonderful if you want to engage in the community here. That's just fine. It's raining at Rachel's. Ruh-roh. Phil Funk came in. Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. I just got that song in my head. Thank you, Phil. Now I'm stuck with that, I'm sure, for a while. I appreciate that. But so after all of that, we're going to be getting into the Paranormal Portal news, which always leads every segment of the show, where we cover just some news articles from a great site known as unexplained-mysteries.com. I got a few articles pulled up, 3 of them tonight to go over, which is usually about 2 more than I had before. I was going to give you a 4th one that was sent to me by my cousin's wife, but I couldn't get the link to open. It didn't really come with a link. It just came with a Facebook page. It's like, oh, shoot. So I apologize, Melissa, if you're out there watching. I tried to open your link to cover that tonight, but I just ran out of time. I didn't have time to go research the news network where the story came from and find the actual meat and taters, just their webpage mention blurb, which would have been, quick enough, but there's no details in there. So I'll have to look into that and pull up the actual article for next week's shows. So anyway, and hello to Paul and Melissa if you're out there watching. Good to see you. Or figuratively. I'm not really seeing you, but you remember I used to watch a show when I was a wee little lad. It was called Romper Room. And there was a lady that hosted the show, and it was she went by the name of, I think, Miss Karen. And Miss Karen would hold up this mirror at first, and then they would do a swap where the mirror became transparent, and she could see her face looking into this mirror, and she was looking out there saying hello to random boy and girl names, and like she was seeing them. Oh, hi, it's good to see you, Peter. Wonderful you're watching today. Well, hello, Tina. Thanks for... It's like, I wish I had that magic mirror I could look out there and see. But make sure you're clothed before the technology moves to that place, because you can't unsee some things. Some things you don't want to unsee, and other things you might want to burn out your eyeballs for. All right, I remember Romper Room. That mirror never called my name. Hey, yeah, I not for an Annie. Are you kidding me? She never said Annie. Oh, I can't believe that, because my name being Brent, she never talked to me either. However, my brother, my oldest brother, Jeff, actually, the studio wasn't far from, well, at least for the Minnesota version, unless there was another version. I don't know. Maybe they did regional versions or whatever. I don't know. But the studio was actually in the Twin Cities metro area. And one time my oldest brother went there and was on the show. So I thought that was really cool. He's a little famous at a young age. I think he was like 5, maybe 6. That was really cool. So anyway, I don't know why I share these things. Like, you guys are like, who cares? God, who cares? I don't know. It's just the way my head works. Sorry about that. It was a Canadian show. Well, not in Minnesota, it wasn't. it weren't Canadian because it was in Minnesota, unless they were just in Minnesota for an episode. Maybe they just came into that studio and did one to bring in the kids. I don't know. Maybe they had a roving show and they just kind of did it in different locations. I just assumed Romper, Stomper, Bumper, Boo. Was that something that they said on there? I don't remember it that well, Dale. You could be right. I was maybe 4 or 3 when I was watching it. I will tell you this. I have a lot of memories from being a young child. And my hand to God, my earliest memory is getting my diaper changed as a baby. That is my very earliest memory. I remember laying on the changing table and watching my mom walk across the room and reach down into a box that had a baby picture on it. I remember that. And then she pulled out something and came back over. And I was like, oh my God, I was getting my diaper changed. When I got older, I could figure out what that was. But that's a true story. That's my earliest memory. I don't know how old I was, but I did potty train normally. So I wasn't like 18 or 16. Just to put that out there as any clarification. I did potty train just fine as far as I know. Yeah. So anyway, let's get into this. We got a lot to go through and get to here on the portal. So we're going to get to the news. I'm going to do my best to inform you. I hope you guys find this next segment, well, the whole damn show, entertaining, but at least I hope you guys enjoyed the news. So let's get to the news. It's time, ladies and gentlemen, to get newsed up. So here we are. It's time for the news. Oh, yeah, I got to push this button. Derp. Hi, Shelly. Jesus, Chucky. You're already a lunatic at 2. All right, folks, welcome to the Paranormal Portal News Desk. I'm your anchor, Brent Thomas. I remember I remember my older brother, middle oldest. So there's an oldest, then there's a middle child, and then there was me. And then when I was 9, my youngest brother came along. But I remember my middle older brother, he did not enjoy potty training at all. In fact, he would sit there and he would sleep. He would sleep on that damn potty chair, the little kid potty chair. He would just sit there. You'd look in the bathroom and he would be out cold. So I don't know if that's an actual memory, but I did see photos of it. So I know it's accurate. But anyway, those darn kids. All right. So ladies and gentlemen, again, throughout the course of the shows, we always cover a lot of different sites. I visit a lot of different sites. And all I ask is that you guys please support these sites. These sites are amazingly well done. These people are working incredibly hard and doing a hell of a job, and they need your support. They need your traffic. They need your visits. And so please take note of the sites that we utilize throughout the course of the show and give them your love. Go check them out because there's so much more on every one of these sites than I could ever cover, but I just can't encourage you guys enough to support them because they are the greatest sites that I've found. So please do that. And if you leave any messages on their message board, let them know the portal sent you. So we're going to get into the news. As I said, I got 3 articles pulled up for you. And by God, it's that time. I'm going to do this. Is that better? Test. Test. There we go. I can hear myself better. I don't know if I'm talking too loud trying to hear myself. I'm like, well, I can just turn up the volume. Yeah, technology. Who would have thunk it? All right, let's get to the news articles. The first one tonight is coming from the UFO Phenomena Files of an incredible site that we utilize on every show. And this show is no different. And this is called unexplained-mysteries.com, ladies and gentlemen. This is an incredible site. And several new articles every day. and they're incredible. Ooh, feel a cold gust on my arm. I do have a little bit of a ceiling fan going, but that was a very frigid breeze on my arm. Hope I don't get scratched again. Damn it. I don't want to get scratched again. If you missed that and don't know what the hell I'm talking about, I was sitting here after a couple of weeks ago on a Monday, just finished doing 2 interviews. And all of a sudden I felt like I felt like something warm on my neck. So I reached over and touched it and felt this raised welt going along the side of my face up to my jawbone. I'm like, what the hell is that? So went and talked to Mrs. Portal and said, what's going on with my neck? And she's like, oh. And then she pulled down my collar and I had scratches all over my neck, like, X shapes and stuff. It was pretty crazy. I'd never experienced that before, but didn't hurt. But it did kind of slowly begin to like have a slight stinging or like a rug burn type of feeling, and just little lines of it though. It was kind of an irritation, but it didn't bother me. I actually thought it was fascinating, to be honest with you, but I don't know. I know a lot of people get concerned about stuff like that, but Mom's doing good, by the way, John. Thank you for asking. Let's get to this. Jack the Ghost, Chucky, the Ghost Radar was quite active Friday. Yeah, it was. It was. Let's get to this. Yeah, I should put it on screen. God, you'd swear I never did a show before. Here we go. Unexplained-mysteries.com brings us this article. And this is coming from the UFO Phenomena Files. Mystery as hundreds of people see large, dark UFO over West Michigan. That's interesting. Now, I was just seeing on speaking of strange phenomena in the sky, Toby Johnson, who is Owl Moon Lab gentleman, and he's a great guy. I've met him several times. Just a fascinating individual, and he had captured some video out of Oregon just a day or two ago. That was at night, and he was looking over the ocean, and the clouds were flaring with like orange light, like the whole sky was flaring with this orange light. So it was something happening probably, I guess, above the clouds or in the clouds that was just, making this enormous light. And it happened, and he recorded it. So I guess there seems to be a lot of aerial phenomena going on right now. And maybe that's part of the push that we had suddenly congressional hearings on UFO disclosure or whatever. And it's like, well, maybe they're running out of time because they know something's going to let us know they're here whether we do or not. So interesting. But let's see what this sighting is. The unidentified object, which made local headline news, left witnesses scratching their heads. According to reports, sightings of the anomalous object, which was seen last Friday, centered along the Gizon, I don't know how the hell to say that, Parkway in the Bryan Center, Wyoming area of West Michigan. Jesus, I thought we were talking about very different states there for a second. It was large enough to be spotted by quite a large number of people throughout the area. Before long, witnesses had taken to social media to talk about what they'd seen. Described as being large, black in color, and shaped roughly like a triangle, the object didn't seem to resemble any known drone design and certainly wasn't a helicopter or other known craft. Some people speculated that it could be some sort of giant kite. Seriously? Some people went to a kite? Like, yeah, nobody would ever. I mean, how big would that kite have to be if it was so big that many, many people could see it? Though this remains unconfirmed. Yeah, probably because it wasn't what it was. It was weird. The size was big and it just hung there, said witness Melissa Belinsky. Another witness, Aaron Adamzik, I don't know. I'm just butchering the hell out of that, I'm sure. Noted that his group had watched it above the Pines Golf Course in Wyoming for 15 minutes straight, and nobody had been able to figure out what it was. Despite the number of sightings reported, however, the Kent County Sheriff's Office noted this week that it hadn't received any reports about anything unusual in the sky. You can check out a local news report about the phenomena here. Oh, okay, so it's maybe not as big as I thought it was. By the description, it sounded much bigger. Could that be a kite? I guess, but was there wind? Was there enough wind? Social media lit up West Michigan after hundreds reported seeing a large and mysterious black object floating above Wyoming and Byron Center area. Was it a kite? Well, I don't know. Is it impossible to be a kite? Well, how high do you get a kite, really? I mean, it seems like they're way, way, way up there. But if it's this big, that far above the tree line, that would be one hell of a kite. And I think you would know it's a kite after watching it for any length of time, because unless the air was absolutely constant, it's really hard to keep a kite up there and keep it steady. I mean, they usually sway side to side, or they're, maybe bowing down and then going back up. And it sounds like this was very stationary, but I guess they got to throw some idea at it. Well, what about a kite? Why not? Why not a kite? Hang glider? I grew up seeing hang gliders near where I lived in Minnesota along the river. There was a hang glider launch about a mile away up on top of a bluff. And they would always go over the house. And they're very, very identifiable as hang gliders. They look like a really wide triangle. I mean, they're very identifiable. I don't think it would look like this unless they've come up with new hang gliders that have a very different shape, but this is not what I saw when I was growing up. Now, I'm not saying it couldn't be something terrestrial, but I don't buy that it's either a kite or a hang glider. But what it is, I can't say for sure. It could be a UFO. I mean, all things considered, why not? It could very well be that. So I guess if more information comes out, I'll be sure to bring it to you. But until now, or for now, this is all we know. I should probably close the third screen, right? Don't need that open. Nobody's with me tonight. It's just you guys and me. All right, so that's the first article. I've got two more to cruise through tonight on the news. And let's get to this next one from unexplained-mysteries.com. And this is coming from the UFO files again. Again, there's been a plethora of UFO reports. It went full screen on me. I didn't want that. And I think it's because of the hearings going on, or that had gone on, that kind of drummed up people's interest again. But here's a strange report from the UFO phenomena files of unexplained-mysteries.com. Police in Canada retrieve wreckage of downed octagonal. I don't know exactly how to say that, but I think it's octagonal, but it could be octagonal UFO. Somebody's going to be correcting me, I'm sure. I'll check the chat. Sorry, guys. Newly released documents detail the case of an object that was shot down near Lake Huron last year. According to documents, the object, described as octagonal, an octagon in the sky with strings hanging off of it, had been hit by two missiles fired by a U.S. F-16 fighter on February 12, 2023, before it descended over Lake Huron in Ontario. Efforts to locate the wreckage then began in earnest, with the Royal Canadian Mounted Police teaming up with American and Canadian Coast Guard to find the crash site. Within days, however, the effort had been called off due to a deteriorating weather, but then reports emerged suggesting that material from the wreckage, along with a module, had been collected around 3 weeks later. The module was found to have been manufactured by a company known to sell weather monitoring equipment, though it remains unclear whether it had actually come from the downed object or if it had simply been found in the area during the search. It will be analyzed to determine if there is anything unusual with it, but I suspect not, given the size. A senior RCMP member told the Canadian Military Brigadier General in an email. Whether or not it's from the shoot-down is uncertain. Later, a spokesperson seemed to confirm where the debris had been found. The RCMP confirms that the debris was recovered from the shores of Lake Huron And we continue to work in close collaboration with our domestic and international partners in furthering the investigation, they told CTV News Canada. As the investigation is ongoing, additional details cannot be provided at this time. As things stand, the lack of transparency on the matter remains an ongoing source of contention. On whose transparency, though? Is it Canadian transparency or is it U.S. transparency? I bet they know exactly where it went down, and they went and cleaned it up and then let them search for a while anyway. Some argue that the details have been kept under wraps because the object had turned out to be something extremely mundane, and it was an embarrassment for the U.S. and Canadian militaries to have spent so much time and money shooting it down and recovering it. Others, meanwhile, believe that something was, and likely still is, being covered up. Yeah. I mean, don't they have radar that can track where things fall after they're hit? Christ, we can track satellites coming down from space. Oh, it's in a degrading orbit. Oh, there it goes. It's in the Pacific, or wherever. I think they probably know pretty well where they go down. But what the hell do I really know? Nothing. But that's the second article tonight, and maybe it was news to you. I hope it was. I hope you never heard of that before. Again, that was last year. I didn't hear anything about it until today. So this is brand new news to me. All right, let's get back to the last article here, and then we'll be done with the news, except for one little quick announcement I want to make. All right, here it is, ladies and gentlemen, the last news article of the night, and this comes courtesy, again, of unexplained-mysteries.com, and this is also from the UFO phenomena. It's been a UFO news tonight, for sure. Mystery as hundreds of people... Never mind. Yeah, never mind. I guess I pulled that up twice. How about that? Okay, well, I guess we had two news articles tonight, which leaves me with that commentary that I was going to do. I pulled it up twice. How about that? I think I pulled it up last night and then forgot because I never covered it last night and was going to cover it tonight, and then refreshed the news site just to see if anything new had popped up, and that's where I got the other article. I could look quick and see if there's anything else. I don't really care about the spy whale, Hvaldimir. Or the sale of InfoWars, which didn't happen. And everything else we've covered, I guess. So what I did want to mention to you guys tonight, since I did leave and say, I was hoping to see Jake Paul get dirt pounded by Mike Tyson, but I, along with several others, was very disappointed in last night's fight. It was really not what I was expecting at all. I think I was really kind of saddened to see that Mike Tyson looked that way because his training videos look so strong, and he looks so strong and he moves so well, and it was like, oh man, that guy's still a machine. But then last night, during that fight, I mean, he only had about 2 rounds in him, and it went for like 8 rounds or something like that. And I mean, he was basically only able to phone it in for the last several rounds, and I don't know. Excuse me. I was sad to see that he wasn't the same guy in the training videos, Mike Tyson, and he looked old. He looked old and really tired, and it was kind of heartbreaking. And but yeah, he did make a lot of money, Joseph, no doubt about that. Yeah. But yeah, I'm fine. I just got an itchy cough. Sorry. It's the fall and winter weather, and it's using heaters, so I always get coughs every winter because the dry air just kills me. But yeah, it was definitely a heartbreaker to see that's how he was able to participate last night. It was barely participating. Now I'm not casting aspersions at the guy. My God, he's 58. He got in there with a 27-year-old guy, and I don't know, but I will say that I think my takeaway of it, if you care, was that Jake Paul could have probably closed out that fight much, much earlier, to my own dismay. I really wanted Mike to just hit him with one of those uppercuts and lay him down and, just to give him a little bit of humility. I don't dislike Jake Paul. I just don't like his arrogance because he hasn't earned it. He hasn't earned that arrogance. He hasn't earned being, in front of all these people. He didn't work his way up. He just kind of bought his way in. So I was really hoping in that last night's fight would be a humbling experience for him and maybe, create a better contender out of the guy. But that's not what we got. But I think Jake Paul stretched it out because they didn't want it to be, 2-round or maybe a 3-round blowout of him, laying Tyson down and in that manner. I mean, Tyson only had just a handful of decent punches, and the rest he was just eating stuff all night. And he wasn't moving good. Like Roy Jones Jr. said, man, his legs were gone. Yeah, $1 million boxing shorts. How about that? Jake Paul shows up in $1 million boxing shorts. Are you freaking serious? That's a guy that definitely needs to eat some canvas. And just because, why would you do that? I mean, why would you could help so many people with how much your shorts cost. I mean, what a douche. Sorry, I don't mean to be completely inappropriate, but it was just such an arrogant way to show up. Like, well, and they made sure to announce that they were that expensive too. It's like, who cares? I don't care if he's wearing Fruit of the Looms. I really don't. Just, get in there and do what you do. But so that's my take on the fight last night. I think Jake milked it all the way. I think he was pulling his shots at the end there, just making sure Mike could finish it out, which I do kind of respect because, it's Mike Tyson. My God, he was obviously floundering out there and it would have been quite a humiliation for him to end up, laid out at the end of it. So, but yeah, I know. Yeah. Tommy Fury, the one good fight he had, and it was a good fight. I got to admit, I watched that one and Jake held his own, but Tommy Fury definitely outboxed him, So anyway, I wanted to talk about that a little bit. No, he is, but I can't stand a cocky people like him. Yeah, exactly. It's like, just, be a little humble, pay your dues first. And part of those dues is, working your way up. He should be working his way up the cards just like everyone else. Now he's talking about fighting Conor McGregor next, who is a retired UFC guy. And, I mean, if he goes UFC rules and stuff, then okay. Because Conor will eat his lunch, and take his lunch money. But, I don't know. It was a disappointment. Not that this is the boxing portal or the Jake Paul portal, but anyway, I wanted to just talk about that. But that's going to conclude the news. And let's get back to the rest of the show. Lots more to cover. Here we go. Probably not, Chucky. But there we go. That was the news. I hope you guys enjoyed it. With a little bit of sports at the end. Huh? That's a first up for the portal. Who says we can't do sports here? Huh? Come on. We did sports. And from the sports desk, me. All right, there you go. There you go. Boxing should be winner take all. Well, not really. I mean, both guys deserve to get something for showing up and standing in that ring and getting pummeled. So I'm fine with split purses or the winner taking a larger percentage. But you knew Jake was going to take a big percentage anyway because it was his brainchild and his promotion company that pulled it all out. And I think Netflix has taken more on the chin than either of those two fighters did, because a lot of people were really pissed at the farce that was, and the putting it on a streaming platform that Netflix has never done streaming before that I know of, and then having the bandwidth issues that they had was pretty rough. Yep. It's all about the money. I think Jake Paul ended up walking away with like $40 million. So I guess, 40 or $1 million shorts is, not a big bite for the guy, but still, I mean, my God, how arrogant is that? You guys remember Celebrity Deathmatch? Yeah, I remember that, Phil. The lag on the stream was horrible. Yep. But anyway, I hope Jake does fight Conor McGregor in UFC rules and gets his comeuppance that he needs, because he's been forcing UFC fighters to box forever, and they do box to some degree, but for a UFC fighter to enter into a boxing rules kind of engagement, it hamstrings 95% of their available arsenal. I mean, they've been trained to fight. It's muscle memory for them to fight a specific way, but they have to pull everything to just go, oh, it's just my arms. Oh yeah, just my arms. They can't use all the other things that they would use. So that's a tough thing to do, to unlearn your fighting style and your instinct in order to participate. Boxing is chess. UFC is checkers. Yeah, I mean, I love both sports. I think they're both pretty incredible. Again, I'm never condoning violence, but these guys are trained professionals. They trained for this. And I think it's great to get in there and just see how they did. I'm going to test my mettle against your mettle. We're going to see whose kung fu is stronger, So that makes sense to me. But who knows? All right, so we're going to get to our next segment, folks. This is one that's near and dear to me, and special thanks once again to Mr. Chucky Danger, who makes this possible every week. Special thanks always to all our incredible mods and admins wherever you are. You guys are amazing, and thank you so much for helping me out to do these shows, to take care of these communities. You guys are amazing, and I really, really appreciate you. So for all that you do, and I don't thank you guys enough, but you're amazing. So thank you so much. We're going to get to our, like I said, the Discord question of the week. So I hope you're ready, because it's time. Here we go. Oh, my poor computer. Do you hear it struggling just to spit out my stingers? Yeah, those are called basically like a transition or a stinger. I think maybe it's a stinger on the front end of a show. But anyway, whatever it is. I don't know all the terminology. I just work here. I wanted to try to close this to see if this will help. What the hell is this? I think I can close that. It's not even loaded. There we go. There we go. And maybe I'll minimize this screen because I'm not using it anymore after the news. Maybe that'll help. All right, here we go, folks. Discord question of the week. Again, if you're not familiar with our Discord community, then please get familiar with it. If you like our chat, if you participate in our chat, it's basically the same people over there on Discord hanging out. So this is where you'll find most of them continuing their discussions throughout the week, even when we're not doing shows. So God bless you all of you that have taken the time to join. But if you're looking how to join, check the description below the video. There should be a link in there, unless you're on Twitch. Then head over to YouTube or Rumble and find that link in the description. But the Discord is just discord.gg/paranormal portal. So special thanks to Caleb for making it possible. Tyson was too slow. I'm a bit sad. Yeah, I was really too. I was kind of crushed. It was just like, oh, his legs just were never there. All right, let's get to the Discord question of the week. Now, what this segment is every week, Chucky formulates a question dealing with the paranormal in some measure. It could be cryptozoology, it could be UFOs, could be strange phenomena, could be anything. And dealing with the paranormal. And we asked you guys, our Discord community, what do you think? And then you weigh in, and we've got some incredible results, some incredible insights you guys have provided into this stuff. So thank you so much. I just wanted to wave to brand new member Jocelyn joined. When did she join? She joined the 12th. I just found it now. Sorry, Jocelyn. I'm a little slow, but I did see it. I'm just seeing if anyone else joined here. Excuse me. But Discord is a little confusing if you're brand new to it. It's not a hard program to use. Oh, Kel joined. Good to see you, Kel. Thanks for joining and being a part of the journey as well. I said hello to you now. I clicked the hello thing, so that looks like it. But we are going to head over here. If you're brand new to Discord, there is a Discord tutorial thread right here. When you first come in, you'll be in the general. That's what I was just scrolling through here. But you can go up to Discord tutorial. Sheldon, who is also a co-host and is my oldest son, put up some links to some great videos to teach you how to use Discord. Just some basics. All you need is basics, really. I mean, it's not a difficult program to operate and deal with. But these are all the communication threads that you can participate in. Episode, discussion, Bigfoot, Dogman, Ghost, UFO, extraterrestrial encounters, cryptids, music, strange phenomena, paranormal library dealing with books and movies. Next one, and then art gallery, which is kind of cool because we've got several creators of paranormal art right here in our community. And there we go from Sinfully Wicked. She sent in a beautiful grizzly stitch, which is behind me, sitting right by the moon there, peeking around the moon. Right. Where the hell is my finger? I'm trying to do it. There, right? Nope, right there. Behind the moon, he's peeking right over it. That's Grizzly Stitch. The Discord community had a challenge to name it, and the winner got a t-shirt. So, but there you go. But we're looking at, not episode discussion, we're looking at the question of the week. Oh, where are we at here? Okay, so this is today's question. This is from the 11th of November, which is last week. We're now at the 16th. I guess this is this week. It's the 16th. Yeah, this week, earlier. It looks like Sunday, maybe Chucky put this up. But here it is. Here's the question of the week from Chucky Danger. Dogman has been a cryptid that has captured the attention and thoughts of many into the paranormal. Yet evidence for it comes few and far between. In your own words, what do you think about Dogman, and why do you think we haven't found much physical evidence? Do we just need to research it more like Sasquatch? Jesus. There we go. Patty Troy comes in first and says, I believe that people have seen Dogmen, but I also believe they are supernatural. No evidence will ever be found, in my opinion. Good point. Could be right. Weird Nerd 42 came in next and said, I think it's probably just a supernatural interdimensional thing like most or all of these cryptids are. Ah, fair enough. Yep. Exactly same for most or all cryptids. You should always respond to Patty Troy. Comet Man comes in next. Dogman's more of an interdimensional being like a Sasquatch. Okay. And ZX81V2 put up the picture of St. Christopher, which is traditionally known as the dog-headed saint in Catholicism. And some depictions of him look like this. So maybe there is precedent in history for that. And the cynocephaly, of course, as well, were considered dog-headed soldiers. And were apparently very ferocious and terrifying on the battlefield. Eric the... really? Ugh. Eric the Wandering Purple Hobbit comes in next. Well, let's just for a moment rule out the interdimensional stuff. If you were an intelligent species and dependent upon anonymity, I think you'd be very capable of hiding, be it through mimicry or various other things us human beings have lost the capacity for because of the use of technology, especially now in the age of deep fakes. It says derp fakes. Internet and what have you. Our senses as a race, actual race, not just because of this pigment of your skin, have been dulled down. Our ancestors, even in my grandfather's or father's GPA, or grandpa being of World War II vet age, and father being a Vietnam veteran, were stronger, smarter, more aware than we are. Plus, if you're empathic, the whole exponential growth of human populace, this because it's draining on empaths. We are weaker than generations before us, as the Sasquatch and Dogmen are equal to or maybe stronger than their previous generations. But what do I know? As I always say, there is so much we don't know about so much. Fair enough. Good points. Worthy of consideration, sure. Talowich comes in next, says, I think everything else humans mess up, they probably going extinct. Yeah, that could be. That's the tragedy, that we do have a tendency to destroy what we love. Annie Manul comes in next, said, would it leave evidence that was obvious to an average person? If this is a member of the dog family or something taking that shape, then its footprints are dog-like. Most people aren't going to give much of a thought to dog prints, except that they're large because we see them all the time. An expert tracker would notice a bipedal gait, but there aren't a lot of those around, and they may not say anything because they don't want their sanity questioned. The same goes for fur. Nobody thinks twice about seeing dog fur. If it's in wolf habitat, then the same issues apply. There could be a lot more evidence of dogmen around than we know, but the traces that they leave get mistaken for members of the dog family because that's what we expect to find. That's a really good point. You know, I hadn't really considered that, but yeah, that is very interesting. All right, Eyes comes in next. I think that's how you say that name. But Dogmen and Sasquatch are both reported alongside extra or interterrestrial reports. Gives me wonder that they are not both part of the same situation. Though I have heard that there has been DNA collected before confirming non-identified primates in a few reports, recently from the paranormal units run by the Navajo Paranormal Rangers. I don't know what happens to evidence like that, but hey, there's my answer. Well, it's a good answer. Thank you for taking the time. The Unknown comes in next with quite a segment here. The Dogman has a mystique that keeps it lingering at the edge of cryptid lore, but the elusive evidence does make you wonder. With Sasquatch, there's a wide base of sightings, folklore, and even some physical evidence, footprints, hair samples, etc., that people can study, debate, and analyze. Dogman, though, seems even more elusive. Reports often describe it as more aggressive and supernatural, which might explain the hesitation in getting closer for documentation. One reason we haven't found more physical evidence might be because, unlike Sasquatch, Dogman could be tied to something paranormal rather than biological. If it's an interdimensional entity, a supernatural creature, or something more spiritual, it might not leave behind the kind of physical traces we're used to. It could be that sightings are more fleeting, or that Dogman appears in remote or specific areas less accessible to researchers and the public. Or maybe it's a case where we just don't have the methods or tools yet to detect it properly. In any case, more dedicated research could certainly help, but it might take researchers looking beyond traditional biology. Maybe a blend of fieldwork and paranormal investigation techniques could be more suited to uncovering what Dogman truly is, if it's out there. Good point. Fair enough. Good insights. John T. comes in next and says, I believe the true Dogmen of biblical times are of an evil realm that PPP, maybe it's pop in and out of reality. Okay. I also believe some Dogmen are created creatures of our Creator, along with Bigfoots and other critters yet to be seen. Some Dogmen and Bigfoot, I almost said Dogfoot, I say are corrupted by outside forces and are nasty and can travel literally or laterally through dimensions. I'm sure there is evidence, but hidden and always covered up. Yeah, there's certainly that possibility that maybe there is a lot of documentation on it, but it just gets covered. ZX81V2 says, and this is St. Christopher, don't look that evil to me. Well, fair enough. I don't know that St. Christopher probably being a cynocephaly is really the same thing as what we understand to be Dogman. They do seem more humanoid in the descriptions of cynocephaly. It doesn't talk about the digigrade legs. And while they do have the canid heads and such, they didn't sound like they were larger than people. Like, from my understanding of the descriptions that are given of the cynocephaly historically, but that they were dog-headed warriors that were incredibly ferocious, but by all accounts, were just people-sized by the understanding. I could be wrong. I might be very wrong, but that's interesting. Hookin' Good Creations by Tina. How you doing? Good to see you. So Owl 13 comes in next, said, hearing some people's encounters sure gives Dogman a very physical presence. Some of those witness accounts on Dogman encounters are some of the creepiest ones I've ever heard, but they're generally the same. The Dogman is seen, and then it does something to frighten the person, making them feel the worst dread, like it's the end of the world, and then they run off and are gone. The episode about the woman in the glass house is freaky. I've not heard that, so I'm not sure what that reference means for sure, but it sounds fascinating. It's hard to say what Dogman is, in my opinion, because I go back and forth between supernatural to a flesh and blood creature. Maybe it's both. They're not from here and a completely different being made of something else, and they have the ability to see and go into our reality. And when they do come into our reality, they become physical. Maybe they can choose their form as well. I find the more I look into any kind of cryptid, the more I see jinn elements, but that's just me. That's a fascinating idea. Could be. Could very well be. And Annie thought that was a great answer. Yeah. It's an interesting take, a jinn. That's fascinating. Jinn allegedly predate human beings as far as on the creation list. They were, whereas we were made of the clay or the dust of the earth or whatever. They were allegedly made of the blue flame. So I don't know. Interesting. Karen Alberding comes in next. Said, I'm not sure about Dogman. It's a hard one for me to wrap my head around. So I really have a hard time with it. I try to keep an open mind about it, but it's just hard. That's pretty much all I can contribute to that. Fair enough. Good enough. Not every answer needs to be, absolutely in-depth and robust. Just share what you think. That's perfect. Closing up the shop is Rachel 101. I think Dogman is one of the more terrifying cryptids out there, and my thoughts on what they are is that they're physical and paranormal. They could have been a creature brought into our world as warriors hundreds of years ago. Now with certain conflicts no longer existing, they're like soldiers who've been abandoned. That's fascinating to think about, sure. The creatures have certain abilities, causing extreme fear with a level of high intelligence, and possibly able to disincorporate, turn into a mist, an ability that would have come in handy for warriors against their enemies. Also, they could have been guardians of graves, burial mounds, but the communities that brought them into this world has changed. But they're left here to survive. Huh. What about that possibility? What if they were summoned through some ancient method and brought here for the purpose of fighting, and then, okay, well, done. And they weren't sent back. Huh. Maybe they can go back and forth once they've been here. I don't know. I don't really understand it personally either, but fascinating ideas, everybody. Thank you, everybody who took the time to weigh in on this. I appreciate your input and your thoughts and your ideas, and special thanks to Chucky. I appreciate your questions, brother. You made my life a hell of a lot easier, not having to come up with new ones all the time. You're doing great. You're doing great. So that's the Discord question of the week. If anybody's interested in joining our Discord and participating, please do. Again, the link is in the description below. Check it out. So that is the end of that. And then I'll do this. Bada boom. All right. There you go, folks. That was Discord question of the week, and unfortunately I didn't turn off that soundbite, so it's going to come on the next time I put up an article. Which happens all the time as well, and it's going to happen in just a moment here. What did Joseph Crow say? Ninja Dave, those howls could be a warning of other dangers in the woods. There's other things I've seen recently. A black leopard nearby on Friday a week ago, just a couple of miles from the dog woman. Wow, that's fascinating. Joseph Crow, Dogman, Skinwalker, Jinn, separate concepts. Yeah, maybe. Maybe they're not. Maybe there is more bleed through than we know. Again, we're on the outside looking in at all of this, so we really don't know. Do you guys think Bigfoot Dogman has a radius like bears, such as where you'll find them roaming in a specific range? You'll see them in different areas at any given time? Yes, I do. I really do. I think that, they are, at least in the case of Bigfoot and Dogman, both have been observed eating, and their caloric needs must be just about the range of a grizzly bear. And grizzly bear have a huge range that they travel as omnivores, and I think Bigfoot is an omnivore as well. Maybe less so the Dogman. Maybe that's more of a carnivore diet primarily, with some grass every once in a while, like my dog. But I think that's probably the case. Hey, Justin, Good Earth, good to see you, brother. We're looking for a permission slip for your absence yesterday. I'll expect that on my desk, but glad you're here. To any of the recent t-shirt winners, I have to let you know, and I alluded to this yesterday, but I use a company for the t-shirts. It's called Teespring. And the last winners, I had submitted the orders and done that several weeks ago, as a matter of fact. And I was given expected dates of delivery, and I was looking and looking and looking and looking, and they weren't moving. They were in printing forever. So what I did, rather than place more orders that were just going to sit there, I reached out to the company a few days ago. Dang. I got a stubborn one down there. I think I got it. But I reached out to the company, and they had some issue with a fulfillment center of theirs or in the U.S. that was causing problems. I don't know how that affects overseas, but if they're being shipped from here, then it affects overseas. At any rate, they say that they've started working with a new company, and they're trying to catch up now. But there's been a huge delay on t-shirts, so just know that I haven't forgotten those of you that won. The orders are in for the earlier round, and the last round I haven't ordered yet, just because I want to make sure they're fulfilling, because I may have to shop for a different platform. I don't know. I'm just hoping they got it figured out now, because I'd rather not have to do with that again, to deal with all that and then merge the designs over to someone else. All of that mess. So when it starts moving again, I will start more ordering to get those t-shirt giveaways fulfilled, but just hang with me if you would, please. It's well out of my hands. There's not much I can do. I'm not printing t-shirts in the other room here. I just have them take care of it, and they fulfill it for me, which is about the most I can do. So just understand, I didn't forget. I haven't forgotten. They are the first round is ordered. The second round is not, because I don't want to throw more orders in the system if it's just going to be broken, and then I got to move it over and try to worry about refunds. So just so you know, yeah, you got to love the electronics. Well, I do enjoy the electronics for the most part when they work. I don't enjoy them when they don't work, but this is a whole company. So hopefully they just get their crap together and make this happen. Little blurb on the ghost radar there. If you see that little dip right over here. I don't know what was going on. Not sure. Something was happening for just a mere moment, but it didn't turn into anything. All right. Let's see. I guess we're going to get to the next part of the show. This is... What time is it? 8:06, 8:07. I titled the show The Inevitable Cryptid. What did I call it? I forgot what I called the episode. I called it something about cryptid fights. Anyway, I forgot. Cryptid. The Inevitable Cryptid Clash. That's what I called it. And this is because I got a couple of articles that deal with cryptids actually fighting and being observed fighting. And I thought, oh, this looks pretty good. So we're going to be getting to that in just a minute. Come on, Brent, get those shirts printed. Yeah, I know, Shelly. Believe me, it's driving me nuts, but it's just the way it goes. When you put your fate in someone else's hands and then they drop the ball, it's like, oh, God, don't do this to me. It already takes me a long time to fulfill those orders anyway, because I get really, really, really scatterbrained, and I'm trying to get more organized. But at any rate, all DNA is spliceable. Could you imagine like a vegetable person? It's Mr. Broccoli's coming over. I don't even know where that came from. But anyway, we're going to get to one article before we go over to the cryptids and deal with these battling cryptids. Cryptids? What the hell's that? Sometimes my tongue doesn't show up for the show right away. But this is an article, again, we've been covering several other articles from Phantoms and Monsters, because usually I cover cryptid stories from Phantoms and Monsters just because Lon has such a robust library of encounters that people have wrote in about their cryptids. And there is tons of that on there. But Lon also covers a lot of other stories and other material that is absolutely amazing and is right in our wheelhouse. So we're going to cover one of these right now, and then we'll get to the cryptid corner. So this is an article from phantomsandmonsters.com. Please support Lon and his site. Please. He's just does an incredible job. You can find out a lot of information about Lon, his published works, and his own podcast, which is Phantoms and Monsters Radio, which you should check out. And that is also a YouTube channel, which he live streams on. So check that out as well. But let's get to this. This is Phantoms and Monsters. I got to shut off the sound effects, so just give me a sec. There we go. Sorry. It's just my inability to set that up appropriately, so it's real cumbersome. So here we are, Nessie versus Champ. Battle of the Lake Monsters. That would be a good one. All right, here we go. This is from Phantoms and Monsters. This is a story about a creepy driver and car vanish after encountering the witness. And this comes from November 9th of this year. And I have not pre-read this. I don't pre-read anything on this show, as you may be able to tell. With my reading, sometimes I'm like, you know, if I pre-read things, I could probably learn how to pronounce them better. But I'm going to put on my glasses, though, to make sure I can see it as well as possible. All right, here we go. A young woman is approached by a man in a car who insists that she get in the car with him. As she tried to get away from him, he and his car suddenly vanished before her eyes. Oh, that's not terrifying. Good God. Oh, good night. Hooking Good Creations by Tina. I could just say Tina, couldn't I? Sorry. But thank you for coming in. It's been great seeing you. All right, let's check out this. Lon says, I received the following account. When I was 17, I was very religious and wanted to become a Roman Catholic nun. I was going to join a convent in January, and I graduated in May, so instead of getting a short-term job, I just volunteered and watched people's kids. Well, every Monday I would go to a food pantry and take the bus there from the same stop. But since I was only 4 miles away, I would just occasionally walk if the weather was really nice. Well, I was walking home one Monday, and I walked past a bus stop that I would usually get off at if I were to take the bus. Well, there was a convertible there waiting, and as soon as I passed it, the man in the car pulled up to me and said, "Hey, I know you. Let me give you a ride." He was literally the most regular Caucasian baby boomer looking guy ever. So I thought it was possible I knew him because I met a lot of people in the church, and that's the only reason I really engaged him. Well, I told him I didn't need a ride since I was close to my house, and he just kept insisting I get in his car so he could take me home and taking me to lunch and then to his place. What? So I could get in his car so he could take me home after taking me to lunch and then take me to his place. What? Well, yeah, you definitely don't get in that car. And he said, yeah, I know you. You're going to join a convent in January. I was weirded out by this because that was true. But I was going more and more, but I was growing more and more certain that I didn't know him. So I asked him where we met, and he said, I met you in the grocery store. You were buying food for your daddy. I immediately started walking away, keeping an eye on this guy and calling my mom because I didn't have a dad. But the strange thing was that he and the car that he was in suddenly vanished into thin air as I was watching him. I never saw him again. I would have never shared personal information with him or anyone else. The experience made me paranoid. He knew I was going to be where I was going to be, and he waited for me. He was so desperately insistent upon me getting into the car as quickly as possible. For that reason, I believe he was a malevolent entity. I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking, oh, devil guy. I have no idea who he was or what he was. He honestly could come to my job one day, and I have no idea if I would recognize him, and that truly scares me. By the way, I didn't join the order or become a nun. Why? Well, I felt that after this incident, it was best that I not go through with it. Well, I hope that was the right choice for you. I mean, yeah, everybody's got to make their own journey. But I don't think if you do feel like you're being challenged by evil, it's probably, you're on the right path, probably. Doesn't mean it's going to be easy. Like, that might be the beginning of several things it might try to thwart you from joining that path, but to avoid it just because, well, just kind of weirded me out. I don't like that. Well, maybe yeah, she wouldn't have come back. Yeah, no kidding. She was, but for whatever reason, she didn't choose that path after that, which to me would be like validation. Yeah, I'm definitely on the right path, because if the devil's going out of his way to take me out of it, I must be doing something the devil don't like. And screw that guy. So I don't know. Very interesting story. I don't know what you guys think of that, but I think that's pretty darn fascinating. So at any rate, there it is. But now ladies and gentlemen, it is time, because it's about quarter after. This would be a good time to dive into the cryptid stories. And we're actually going to start with phantoms and monsters. So I'm just going to do this, because it's time, ladies and gentlemen, for the Cryptid Corner. All right, there it is, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for the Cryptid Corner. I'm going to close this one. I got another weird one that I was going to read another time. But I wanted to start with Phantoms and Monsters because I said the inevitable cryptid clash. And by God, we got a good one here from Phantoms and Monsters. This is just from the 13th of November. Alligator Man versus werewolf? Upright cryptids fight to the death in southern Georgia. Oof. Now, I'll be honest. I've probably only heard of Alligator Man. It's never been called that. It was the Loop Guru or something like that was referred to as an Alligator Man in one story I read, and some kind of reptilian human cross was another, but I never heard Alligator Man until now. Werewolf, well, that's kind of synonymous with Dogman in my eyes. I don't think those are two different things, but they might be. They might be. I don't know how robust this cryptid community is out there, but it's possible there's variations of cryptid humanoids. But at any rate, upright cryptids fight to the death in southern Georgia. Well, I don't know about you, but that fight I would pay to see. If Netflix streamed this, hell yeah, I'm watching. It's weird. I don't know. Let's see what it says. Two southern Georgia hunters encountered two remarkable upright cryptids at the same location. The hunters then watched the cryptid pair fight as one kills the other. Who wins? What do you think? If you haven't read the article. 1, the alligator man wins. 2, it's the werewolf that wins. What do you guys think? I'm looking for a poll here in the chat. 1, alligator man wins. 2, werewolf wins. Come on, 1 or 2. Come on, you guys, participate here. Werewolf Phil Funk says. John Temperin agrees. Barbara says the alligator. Not Mike Tyson. Fair enough, Maggie. Yep, alligator man. Barbara says 2, wizard moon. John Temperin. A lot of werewolf winners here in our chats. Justin Goodearth over in Rumble says 2 for the werewolf. Let's see. Looks like that's the voting. Maggie says 2. Okay. Cool Hands 1 for the gator. Okay. Fair enough. I don't know. I mean, if he can bring the dog man down where he can't breathe, that might be game over. Alligator has primitive techniques. Yeah. Need to know where the fight is taking place, land or river. We're both going to find that out now. But anyway, alligator man bit off Chubb's hand. Happy Gilmore. Fair enough, Devin. Fair enough. The death rolls. Yeah, that would be brutal if they do the same thing. But let's see what happens. All right, let's read it. All right, 2 men, Art and Charlie, are out hunting on private property in southern Georgia. Observe something come out of the tall grass. It was across a small pond, but they could see it clearly. It brought its head up out of the grass and looked around. Well, at that point, it stood up on its hind legs, and it was about 6.5 feet tall with a blocky or alligator-like head. It had large claws, a big tail, and a rounded snout, though it was not as long as a typical alligator's. It sounds like Killer Croc from the Suicide Squad. It walked up to the pond and then jumped in. It began to swim in their direction, but stopped in the middle and stared at them. The 2 experienced hunters thought about shooting it, but they decided against it. Well, at that point, off to the right, about 50 yards away, they saw coming out of the tree line a 7-foot-tall dog-like creature walking on its hind legs. One of the men looked at it through his scope and noticed that it looked like a dang werewolf. 7 feet tall, yikes. It appeared to be watching the reptile creature intently. Taking no notice of the hunters, it walked up to the water, crouched down, and then began drinking as a human would, using its paws, and then peered over at the hunters. As this happened, the reptile creature vanished under the water. It suddenly popped up about 12 feet away from the bank, almost in front of the werewolf creature. Well, at that point, the wolf creature backed away, and eventually the reptile creature drifted back into the water, and the dog-like creature returned to drinking water. A few moments later, as the dog creature walked along the shore, the reptile-like creature, which had been moving around the pond, launched an all-out attack on the dog creature. Springing out of the water, the 2 fought. The reptilian managed to drag the dog thing under the water. The 2 creatures, both bloodied, suddenly appeared on their side of the pond as the hunters moved off. The dog-like creature climbed on top of the alligator and pulled its top and bottom jaws in opposite directions. There was a pop, and the alligator creature suddenly stopped struggling. Afterward, the dog-like creature lay on the ground, chest breathing heavily. One of the hunters decided that he was going to shoot it, but the other talked him out of it. They promptly left the area. Apparently, the property owner was aware of the alligator creature. He claims that they had started to see it around the property 3 years earlier. There you go. It was the werewolf that's triumphed. It did the old King Kong there. It just kind of grabbed its jaws and Yeah, I imagine if that might wreck your whole day. I don't know if that's a brainstem thing, like if you pull it back far enough, it'll break the neck, or I don't know. But in any case, it was game over for Alligator Guy. Are they out there, though? This wasn't just a one-off. It had to have come from somewhere, right? That's got to be brutal. Could you imagine witnessing that? What would that even look like? Wouldn't you just be like, I'm watching Godzilla in real life? That is crazy, crazy story. Yeah, I'm sure it probably did. Can you imagine that? Just defeating an alligator and get shot by some random dude. Yeah, that would have been brutal if they would have just started plunking it then. It's like, oh, you dicks. I mean, so I'm glad the guy was able to talk his friend out of shooting it. It's like, come on. That thing just did that. Wind again, Justin says. Fair enough. Well, you guys weighed in on it, and that's interesting, but that's not all of our incredible cryptid clashes. We got one more. And this one is a brand new one to me, but it apparently comes from Washington. So let's check it out. And I mean Washington State, not the other swamp over on the East Coast. It's not that swamp. All right, giant white lizard and Sasquatch fiercely battle in Washington forest. Okay, who's winning this one? Sasquatch or the white lizard? Let's go 1 for the lizard, 2 for Squatch. Who's winning this one? I'm not even sure that there will be a winner if they fight to the death. But let's see. There's all kinds of lizards in the swamp in D.C. All right, Chucky says the lizard. 2, Phil Funk is going for Squatch. Maggie, the lizard. Eric Walker, the Squatch. Barbara Mora, the Squatch. Rachel says the Squatch. Annie says the Squatch. Karen Alberding says the Squatch. Elaine says the Squatch. Cool Hands going Squatch. It looks like most of you guys are pitting the intelligence and strength of Sasquatch as the victor over a big white lizard. I don't know. I don't know what the white lizard is. It's one of those cryptids that I haven't heard about, especially in Washington State. But let's see what's going on. John Temperin says the Bigfoot is the winner again. Bigfoot is the OG. I saw King Kong. That's another primate that spanked the hell out of some T-Rexes all day long. So I'm saying it's probably Sasquatch, but let's see. Here we go. This one is coming up. A giant white lizard and a Sasquatch battle each other while the witness observes the confrontation while hiking in the Washington forest near Kirkland. Wow. The following account was forwarded to me. The witness was out hiking in the woods around Kirkland, Washington, and he soon came upon a creature climbing a tree. Well, initially he thought it was a giant white lizard. Well, as he examined it, he made out that it was a translucent creature with a tail. Its body almost looked like an exoskeleton with the stubby little legs or appendages, and it turned its head around backwards and was looking directly at him, making a snapping noise with its mouth. Its face had jagged bumps on the top and bottom, and the witness could not tell where the teeth were or if the bumps were teeth. Suddenly, he began to hear a whooping noise, and just then, a creature came crashing through the brush. The white creature turned its head to listen and then began to scale further up the tree. A large, blackish-brown bipedal creature, he recognized that it was a Sasquatch, though it was not similar to the one he'd observed in 2003, suddenly came around the tree and grabbed it. The white creature whipped its tail, hitting its arms. Seemingly surprised, the white creature shrieked out, turned, and leaped onto the Sasquatch. Despite it being 4 times its size, the white creature fought wildly, clawing all over it and burning it with some type of substance that the creature assumed was some type of venom. Something was coming off of it, which caused the Sasquatch to shriek in pain. Smoke was visible anytime the white creature would lean in to bite, though no spit was ever seen coming out of its mouth. Well, after some time, the Sasquatch grabbed the white creature by its head and pulled it off. The white creature flipped forward and then its head spun 360 around. It bit the Sasquatch arm, and the Sasquatch threw it against the tree and punched it, causing it to splat, similar to a fried egg. The white creature seemed to do this on purpose, elongating itself around the tree to absorb the blow. The white creature then hopped to another tree and the Sasquatch followed, attempting to hit it with a stick. Okay, I guess the head didn't come off. Wasn't that what I read? Grabbed the white creature by its head. Oh, just pulled it off the tree. I got you. All right, I thought it pulled the head off. The white creature then hopped to another tree and the Sasquatch followed, attempting to hit it with a stick. Eventually, the white thing fell out of the tree and ran into the woods, and the Sasquatch followed it. The witness had no idea why, but the Sasquatch appeared to want to kill the white creature. Interestingly enough, so there really isn't a discernible winner in this thing. Apparently the white creature's got to be pretty tough, though, because it went toe-to-toe with something that was 3 times its size. But interestingly enough, it's almost like in both of these stories, first the Dogman story, and then the Bigfoot story, but it's like both of these, Bigfoot and the Dogman, or werewolf, ended up protecting the people that were present, because the white creature saw the person first. And so did the alligator man. It saw the people. Yeah, I don't know if it was a rake. It had a tail, so it doesn't sound like a rake by traditional definitions. But doesn't it seem like perhaps in both of these cases, these more familiar cryptids came to the rescue of the people that may have been on the menu? Maybe that alligator guy was like, let's get these guys down to the river. Let's go. Or I'm going to go get them, whatever the case. And then in this case, the guy was walking, or girl, I don't know, it was a man or a woman. But the creature saw her or him, and then it looked like, it sees me. And it began popping its jaw or whatever. And then suddenly the Bigfoot came in and was like, no. So I think so. Protector. Yeah, it seems like it. He never looked at it that way, Brent. But, it's just like in both of those, they had very similar scenes. Somebody views this strange cryptid, and the cryptid sees them and is all dialed in, and then these other creatures come in. Pair character with love. Thank you, Maggie. So perhaps these guys are really on our team, which is hard to understand, because I think most people probably take pop shots at, or a lot of people take pot shots at anything they don't understand. What's that? I don't know. Let's kill it. And create a lot of angst and bad feelings. But maybe there's an ancient contract that they're honoring. Like they are supposed to look out for people, whether it's a divine precedence or whatever. But it's pretty crazy. Bigfoot are usually okay with humans, right? Yeah. I mean, they choose to avoid us for the most part. They can be incredibly intimidating and scare the hell out of people, but they don't go out of their way to hurt people, because if they intended on hurting everybody they saw that was a human, there wouldn't be Bigfoot witnesses. They would just kill people, but they don't. So, and generally the same is very true for dogmen. There's lots of dogman claims, but there's not a lot of claims of them attacking people, even though they physically could destroy people, but don't. So perhaps they are more like wardens or overseers, or, protecting the people kind of things. I don't know. I've been 8 feet from Sasquatch, and the only thing it did was try to sneak away. That's really cool, local Squatch. That's gotta have been an incredible experience. Wow. Amazing. Yeah, but not harmful, because they can easily do it. Yeah, exactly. It wouldn't be a stretch for any one of these cryptids to just go, oh, people, and swat us like a bug. We would be smashed or decapitated before we even knew that we were in trouble, if they wanted to hurt us. but good thing they don't. Good thing they don't. Sorry, I was gurgling there. It's the damn winter air. Furnace air. Furnace air sucks. I love summer and spring. I always breathe the best. I feel the healthiest. I'm doing better this fall than I have in a long time, though. I'm trying to get in the spirit of the season and adjust with it and find the energy of the season. But, man, it just always makes me dry out like a prune. But that's a pretty curious part of these stories. Both cases, it seems like, at least to me, that perhaps the dogman werewolves and the Bigfoots came to assist the people that might have been in a lot more trouble than they knew. So, whatever the case, man, I hope it got rid of that. I wish it would have pulled the head off of the white thing. If it has like acid spit or something like that, that's freaking horrible. Yikes. Yikes, yikes, yikes. But fear not, folks. There's more cryptid fun coming at you. What time is it now? I've done these two stories. I guess we got about 25 minutes left. 25-ish. So we'll cover a few more stories if you guys are so inclined. I'll be happy to share them with you, because another cryptid story, no more battle stories. These are the only two of the battle stories. But fantastic job, Lon. I'm giving you a round of applause, because we don't see many of these. And it is interesting when people do allegedly see these things clash, whatever they are. Now, in both cases, familiar with the Dogman, familiar with Bigfoot, not so familiar with Alligator Man. I've heard of it being mentioned, but very, very sparsely. And then this white lizard-like person, I don't know, with a tail. What is that? I don't know. Again, a rake is a pretty close description, but rakes are generally very, very humanoid without tails. But whatever this was, it was like it was a cloaked predator-like thing. So whatever it was, I don't know, but at any rate, both times it seems like our familiar furry friends came to the rescue. To me. But let's get to the next one. This one's also from phantomsandmonsters.com. Once again, this is such an amazing site. This is why I love Phantoms and Monsters. It's just, there's so much to dig into here. Well, here's another weird cryptid that I don't know what to make of this one. Could be extraterrestrial, but could be something else. Let's check it out. This is tall, pale, featureless humanoid stares at Vermont witness through the window. God, that would suck. That would suck so much. Because all that's separating you from whatever this unknown is a pane of glass. Now, panes of glass, while they can be pretty robust, are probably not going to stop anyone that wants to come through them. If they're that determined to come through a window, they're coming through your window. And by virtue of having a window, that's really not a protection in the true sense of the word. It's just a protection from the air and the elements outside. It's not meant to be a physical barrier, really, to keep anything out, because it just can't stand up to abuse. So if you're looking at this, where is it? Right? Let's do this. If you're looking at this, how do I do my hand? If you're looking at this face, I'm looking at my screen, and all you have between you is a window, that to me would be absolutely like, oh, good God, this is not good. Kind of makes you appreciate the old shutters that they used to have. And then you latch them, and at least that's a barrier. That's a little bit more of a barrier. But let's check this one out. This is tall, pale, featureless humanoid staring at Vermont witness through the window. In 2011, during the winter in Vermont, Joan had gone to pick up her daughter, Mia, who was just getting off of work. Well, it was around 1:45 a.m., and there was a blizzard, and Joan, despite driving cautiously, ended up being involved in a minor ice-related accident, which left the vehicle with a punctured tire. Oh, that's too bad. Well, they decided to abandon the car and just walk home, as it was less than 10 minutes away. The daughter was the first to notice, through the haze of snow, a figure standing about 20 feet away. When we got a few feet closer to the streetlight was shining on it. It was this really tall, skinny thing, Joan recalled. She estimated that it was between 10 and 13 feet tall. Oh, dear God, that's very, very big. Its height terrified them, and they immediately ran for home. Through the sound of the wind, both swear they could hear a sinister laughter as they ran. Well, they made it to the house, and they locked the door. And they waited up to see if it had followed them. Well, it hadn't. After talking about the experience for some time, both eventually turned in for the night. At around 4 a.m., Mia woke her mother to tell her that someone was tapping on her window. Well, both women went and investigated, and Joan claims she pulled the blind up and found herself staring into the face of a pale gray or whitish creature with slanted black eye sockets. No eyes like humans. Not eyes like humans, I guess I should say. She noted that instead of a nose, it had black spots where the nose should be. I didn't see any mouth at all. She immediately released the string and the blind closed. The police were notified and arrived within the hour, and she did not tell them what they had seen, only that they thought a predator had been looking in their window. The officers went and checked, and they walked around the house and returned about 10 minutes later saying that they had found odd-looking footprints. They said that the prints left in the snow were really unusual. They said first it was odd because that they weren't wearing any shoes and that the footsteps in the snow had an odd shape, almost more like the shape of a hand than a foot. And they only saw the impression of 3 long toes on each footprint. So they said it was the most peculiar thing to them that the footsteps were only outside of Mia's window. No footsteps were leading to the window or away from it. So it just kind of showed up. Yeesh. That's a lot creepy. I guess it really liked Mia. I guess that was it says YouTube source, so maybe there's a video on that. That also links to this. I'll put this link in the chats if you guys want to watch the video version of that. Maybe there's more information, or maybe there's visual explanations that may go with it. I don't know. I'll put it in the chats and you guys can decide if you want to go check it out. But that's one way you can help support the shows and the pages, is by clicking the links linked. All right, we got another one here. This is another unusual, I guess, cryptid. An upright bear / human hybrid. Observed multiple times near, I don't know how to say this, Waxahachie, Texas. Waxahachie, Texas, however that's pronounced. I apologize because I don't mean disrespect by my brutal pronunciations of these words, but Waxahachie, Washahatchee, I don't know. Anybody's guess. But let's check this out. Multiple witnesses describe an upright bear and man-like creature seen near Texas, that town. The descriptions were consistent, also noting that the creature merely flinched when shot. The following account was forwarded to me. In 2010, the witness was mending a fence one evening with his associate near Waxahachie, Texas. Texas. The associate got called away, so he decided to stay and just finish up. Well, as he worked, he noticed a large black creature running on all fours across the pasture some 100 to 150 yards away. Well, he got on his ATV and headed to where he'd seen it, and upon arriving at the spot, he saw it through his binoculars, and he noted that it looked like a bear, but with notably elongated arms and limbs. Well, as he stared at it, the creature stood up on its hind legs, swayed side to side, and as it did, it looked directly at the witness, who became spooked. The beast was man-like and also bear-like, and also strangely resembled a werewolf. I'm telling you, it's the weirdest thing, he recalled. I wonder if it was a dogman and they just didn't have a definition for what that could be. Well, eventually the creature began running on two legs directly at him, and he left the area. The witness discovered that the son of the man who owned the farm for which the witness was employed had run in with a strange creature on the property that frightened him so badly he would not venture out to the pasture anymore. There'd been a spate of cattle deaths as well. Another woman who lived on the property had been out riding one evening when her horse became spooked and bucked her off. She looked to find out what had frightened the animal and observed two creatures on the other side of the fence. They stood 6.5 feet tall. The shoulders, arms, and legs were man-like, yet the head was bear-like, with a rounded snout. She described that it was like a man mixed with a black bear. As she lay there, the two creatures continued to stare at her. Eventually, a truck driven by a ranch hand drove up, and the creatures dropped to all fours and just ran off. The original witness had another encounter with the creatures one evening, and it resulted in him and some other men shooting at it. It merely twitched and then ran off. So apparently they hit it, but it didn't seem to do any damage. Note from Lon, the witness's girlfriend, when she was 11 years old, had been driving in a car with her father in Comanche, Texas, when they ran into a strange furry creature. Well, they exited the vehicle and looked at it, and it was injured, but still alive. She noted that it was a man mixed with a bear, and it had human eyes. Well, they retreated back to the car and just left. Wow. I mean, what would you do? What would you do? Even if it was injured, would you risk approaching it and just hope that it was also a little smart and could understand you're trying to help, or that you'd just be an easy meal because it's too wounded to go hunt for itself and it would just consume you? I don't know. Skinwalker, Lars says, could be. I don't know. I don't know a whole lot about skinwalkers. Generally, they're believed to very truly turn into what they try to, and it doesn't have to be a canine type of thing. It could be many things apparently, but do they look like a blend between the two? That's an interesting take. It could be. In my opinion, they are evil. Could be. I don't pretend to know. For me, it's spelling things. I don't know what that means, Phil. I'd even consider getting on an ATV to go see. Yeah, I mean, it is interesting. Would you want to pass up that opportunity? Because chances are that's the one opportunity you're going to have throughout the course of your life to get a really good look at something like that. I mean, these sightings are just incredibly rare. So would you take advantage of that and go see and throw caution to the wind to get a closer look? Or would you just be like, nope, I'd be gone, like Maggie? I think I would probably err on the side of caution too, but there'd be a part of me that would definitely want to go see what this is and have a better look at it. So I don't know. It's a great question. And it's not, there's no wrong or right answers. It's just, what are you willing to do? What are you willing to risk to do it? And I don't know. All right, I think we're going to close the Phantoms and Monsters files there. There's another one that I wanted to cover. And this is from Sasquatch Chronicles blog. And I thought we'd end the show with Sasquatch Chronicles tonight. It's kind of a longer one, but it'll be okay. The paragraphs look pretty short, and this is from November 16th, so it's today old. Brand new from Mr. Wes Germer. Thank you, Wes. Appreciate your blessing to use the site, and appreciate Lon letting us use his site, too. That's really cool. All right. First king around the northern part of the Korean Peninsula. Said to be a grandson of heaven. I don't know what you're talking about, Ninja Dave, but that sounds fascinating. All right, let's check out this one. It was looking straight at me. This is from November 16th. Another cryptid story. A listener writes, I'm a cinematographer working in Los Angeles, California. I shoot everything between TV pilots to studio CFO meetings. So he does a big range of stuff. Though I'm a Hollywood professional in the stereotypical sense, I'm originally from southwest Missouri on the edges of the Ozark Plateau. I grew up on an Arabian horse farm in a house built in the 1820s. My family owns about 100 acres, with much of it is used for horse pasture, while most is still thick woods and surrounded by moor. I was introduced to your podcast almost 2 years ago by my stepdad. He's a professional technology salesman and far more worldly and traveled than I'd assumed the average Bigfoot believer is. But as an experienced hunter, he's had eerie personal experiences on our family land that have made him a believer. He's also had no true sightings, but after hearing a number of your guests, I think I have. I'm not sure if you want me to write my entire experience in detail, but I'll give you the general gist. In either the early fall or the late summer evening of 2008 or 2009, ending my high school years, while walking between my girlfriend's house and my grandparents, where I was living, I was stalked by a large, dark-furred creature. He says I was stalked, so he was generally, basically being pursued, at least curiosity-wise. It always kept just inside the wood line, even as I made a wrong turn and had to backstep. Only while I walked, excuse me, hindsight giving the impression that it was on 2 feet. Terrified 2 large neighboring Great Danes, known for barking at everything, and I actually saw it. As I made it the first few yards into the grandparents' driveway, I heard its steps break from my pattern and take huge strides behind me. I can't confirm it sounded bipedal or not. And I turned around maybe 15 yards from it. It says years, but yards from it. And it stood completely silhouetted by moonlight at the road's edge. I saw it had just stopped its motion when I turned by how it seemed to finish its last lean from a step and straighten its head towards me. It was easily just shy of 6 feet and on all fours. Also, it was enormous. It was on all fours. From my seconds of view, it seemed like a huge upper body and a smaller rear. But in hindsight, it could have easily been a hunched or squatting humanoid shape. I couldn't see its face or the full shape of its head given its posture, but I know it was looking straight at me, and intentionally, very still. The 2 seconds I looked directly at this thing immediately triggered a fear I have never known before. Ever. I just tore off and sprinted the last 10 yards to the basement door, flung myself behind it, locked everything I could, and slid a can of nails ahead the door. Maybe as a signal chime, or maybe just out of panic. I stood ahead that door for close to an hour, just waiting. I still don't know how I slept that night. Since that experience, I've told multiple close family members and tried to rationalize what it could have been. Like some family have hypothesized, I figured it could have been a large black bear, now rare to our area, a massive rogue mountain lion, maybe distorted from the view, and at least one rogue lion was confirmed passing through the areas years later, or just a huge stray dog. Honestly, it didn't feel like anything I've ever been around before. It didn't feel natural. Granted, I've never been hunted before, but this thing did not hold the proportions or characteristics of any of those animals, or anything I've ever heard of. Just months after it happened, there was a local report that made the local news of a large creature that was possibly dog-like was seen. Happened to be associated with a random burn patch in an open field, which led some folks to call it a hellhound. Well, I started to think that's what I saw. Up to just a year ago, I heard on one of your interviews a man mentioned he thought a Bigfoot was a buffalo at first glance by how it hunched in proportion. With that and your recent interviews mentioning dogmen, all possibly correlated or confusing one for the other, really made me think. I think I saw a Bigfoot. Well, that's my little story for you. I'm sure you get around 1,000 a day, but thought I'd share it with someone who doesn't think I'm nuts. Yeah, that's fascinating. Very, very fascinating. I don't know if he was being actively stalked or if he was just maybe being pushed. Because again, I think if these things wanted you dead, you'd be dead. And you'd probably be dead before you even knew you're in trouble. So, yeah. Yep, but Eric Walker says probably a big cat. Well, it could be. I mean, the person isn't absolutely clear on what he saw. He just saw a silhouette, I guess, and it never did stand up bipedally. But at any rate, that's gotta be humbling experience. Even a big cat close by is absolutely humbling. So, I don't know. Tree pretzel. Yep, absolutely. So, interesting stuff. I don't know. I like these stories. I love all of the paranormal, of course. I love ghost stories, UFO stories, strange phenomena stories, and of course, cryptid stories. I think all of this stuff is absolutely fascinating, and it's got to be here for a reason. It's got to be part of our world for a reason. It's not just hiccups or glitches. It's something we're meant to eventually understand, or at least come to terms with. So whatever it represents, I don't pretend to know. I just know that it's got to mean something. This isn't just weird happenstance or whatever. There's a reason behind the madness, folks. I really believe it. And I also believe that we're just about out of time. And I would be correct in that assessment, I think. But it's always a pleasure doing these shows. Would be too curious. Yeah. Justin said I would be too curious. I think that's going back to that story where they saw the wounded one or whatever and didn't get out to check it out. I don't know. I'd be both probably scared is the best assessment. And I know fear is never a good thing, but I mean, I don't want to get sliced up by anything. I don't want to end my life on the food chain for anything. I'd rather just, go out like a light bulb. I just get old and fold up and that's it. Or suddenly somehow. But yeah, I just hate thinking something was chewing on me after I was done. I don't know what it is. I'd be dead in that story. Yeah, I'm hearing you, Lars. I might be too. I probably would be. Who knows? I think my rapidly fleeing days are long behind me. So I'd be like, God, I hope it's not hungry. I hope it's not hungry. Because I'm pretty sure they could catch me. But I don't know if I taste good, though, either. Just saying. I might suck. I'm aged meat. All right, guys. I guess that's going to be the journey tonight. I hope you guys had a good time. There's really not enough time to get into anything new because we're down to just minutes. But I hope you guys had a good time. I hope any of you that are new out there hanging out with us, that you may just become parts of the community. If you subscribe or follow and ring the bell if you got the notification option, wherever you're watching, I'd love to see more of you. This is definitely a family affair here on the portal. So you're all welcome to stick around and keep coming around. I do these live shows every Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, 7 p.m. Pacific time. So it's all an option. Hey, have a good night too, Lars. Thank you. But that's going to wrap up what I got for you. I hope you had a good time. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you'll let other people know about the shows. I appreciate that. Awesome show, Brent. Have a good night, friends. You too, Justin. Good to see you, brother. We've missed you lately, so it's good to see you back. And, spread the word. Feel free to share these episodes on your social media if you want, or other groups. you're involved in that think they might enjoy it. I've been putting a lot of effort into the thumbnails lately. The last 2 shows I've been working really hard to create a more stylistic, good-looking thumbnail that might intrigue people to check it out. So I don't know if I'm succeeding or not yet, but I'm just trying what I can to make the show as appealing as I can to more people. So yeah, I don't want anything peaking, Lars. I'm with you. But again, I keep saying but I mean it. I did spread the word, but you know what they said, Brent? They said, we don't believe you, Grandizer. That's what they said. Grandizer, we don't believe you. You don't just spread the word once, though. You spread the word over and over. Because of the show, no show is going to appeal to everybody. But maybe you'll spread the word to the right person, and they'll go, you know what, I'll give that a shot. Maybe they'll come over and give it a shot and go, wow, this is a great journey. And Grandizer, you got nothing to complain about, brother. I gave you lots of cryptids tonight. Just saying. There was a boatload of cryptid stories tonight. And if you weren't here, you wouldn't know that. So, yeah, whatever. I first and foremost, this show is always a community. It's always a discussion. And if somebody just wants to hear stories, go listen to Mr. Ballin. Go listen to any number of other shows where that's all they do is just read stories. God bless you. That's more power to you. I know you do, Grandizer. I know you love the cryptids. All right. So anyway, have a great rest of your weekend. Thanks so much for giving me part of your time, hanging out with me and keeping me company and creating a family around me. It means the world to me. And so in that, I'm just going to tell you, I love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other, help each other out, find the magic in every day. Remember to laugh as much as you can. Pay attention to Monday. New podcast episode coming out. Hope you guys check it out. And but they don't have the portal power and the community. You're absolutely right, Maggie. Portal power. We got portal power up in here. All right, that's it. I'm all done. I'm all out of steam. I got no more gas in the tank. I'm going to go lay prone for a while and have a good night. Sweet dreams. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you Wednesday if you come back. I'll be waiting for you. Good night, everybody.